Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. So here I will show you step by step how to get iOS push notification from Firebase, and I will cover every detail, and I will show you that how to get the iOS push notification on actual device, and I'll walk you through the complete code. And I'll also cover that most tutorial didn't cover about iOS push notification. So to learn about it, stick to the end. Anyway, so first I have created a new project over here and I call it dvtech notify. You can call it anything you want. And after that, I have these two plugins over here. And one is for overlay support and other two is for Firebase core and Firebase messaging. Ultimately what they do, because of this two, we get Firebase notification on our device. Now, overlay support would help us to see the notification on our app itself, okay, like an overlay. So that's what's going to happen over there. So let's go ahead with the code. Now, here is my main.dart class, and here it's pretty empty, nothing is here, okay. Well, first I'll have this piece of code over here. And as you can see, I have here main app, and after that I have a stateless class which is called my app, and I'm calling it from here. And from here you see that I'm going to call a new class or new Dart class, and I'll call it homepage, or I can change it to my homepage. All right, so right after this, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and create a stateful class over here. Okay, all right, so now the error is gone. Well, now this is the very basic skeleton. Now, before we go ahead, before we go ahead with Firebase, we have to understand what Firebase sends us. So when you try to get a push notification from Firebase, Firebase will send a message. Now in the message, you will have body and title, okay? Say, for example, I get the message in a object called message. Now message will have title. So I'll access it using title like this. And if the message has body, then I'll access the body like this, message.body, okay? So message will have title, body, and a lot of other information, but in this tutorial, we'll just focus on title and body. Now, if you're going to use this title and body in our app, we want to store them somewhere. So for that reason, actually, we'll create a model. In the model, we'll save this title and body. And if we have the model, then we can use it later in our app. So anywhere we want, okay? So for this reason, we'll create a very simple model. And once we get the message, we'll save the title and body in the model itself, okay? So now we'll go ahead and create a model. So in the model itself, I have this title and body, as you can see. Now, as I said earlier, we'll have title and body from Firebase. So we'll save it in this model, okay? Later on, we'll be able to access this in our app anywhere we want, okay? All right. Now, that's one thing. One more thing before we go ahead with Firebase. We want to show our messages and message count, okay? Now, if you tap on the message itself, the Firebase message, the one you get, it has to show in our app, because in general, most of the time, what you see that you send a message from Firebase, you can see it as a notification, but when you tap on it, you don't see anything, okay? Because we didn't, most tutorials out there, they don't implement it. But in our case, as we tap on it, it's more like we'll go to a new route or a new class, okay? And we'll show that in that class, whatever the messages we get, okay? All right. So for that reason, over here, I'll create a new class, Dart file. I'll call it notification badge. So it will have our information, okay? And how many notifications we have received, we'd be able to see that. Okay, so here I have created a simple class, stateless class, and I'll call it notification badge. And it's wrapped around a container, and it has a bit of design which would make it look cool. All we do over here inside will show how many notifications we have received so far in our app. Of course, we need to pass it, okay? So wherever we call it from, we'll pass it, okay? Now with this, we are done with the basic setup. Now we'll go ahead and do our Firebase setup in our code, okay? So first we'll go ahead and create some variables because we want to be able to deal with Firebase messages. For that one, right over here, I'll declare these 3 variables, and of course I need to import them, the libraries. And this is the push notification class, the one we have created early. And right below it, we'll create another method, and that method would be responsible for getting requests from iOS device. So as you want to send notification, we'll ask the user that whether you allow the app to get notification or not. And for this reason, we'll have this method. Now, this method is a bit long, and I'll walk you through step by step. Now, the method starts from here, but of course we need to import the Firebase library. Okay, and we will also have to declare this method. Okay, for this one, we'll declare this method at the top, very top. This is a top level method. Now, this is the method that I was talking about, top level method. Now, this method is get triggered when your app is in the background, okay? Now, we'll come down over here. So this is the method earlier we created, and this method is a bit long, but don't worry. Regarding this method, you can get the complete code for this method from the link below. I'll walk you through what's happening over here. So first we initialize Firebase, and then we get an instance of Firebase messaging, and we save it in this message variable, okay? And at the same time, we trigger Firebase background messaging. It means that when our app is in the background, we want to be able to receive the message, okay? And after that, over here, what do? We wait for user permission from the device, okay? So this is most probably one of the most important steps, okay? Without this, on iOS, it won't work, okay? So here we pass a few properties and set them to true or false. And one of them is provisional false. It could be very important, okay? All right, and then if the user gives us permission, then we'll fall back to this condition, and in this condition we try to get the token. Now this is the next important thing, because you have to get the token. In general, once you get the token, you want to save it to the server, because every device has unique token when app is installed. Of course, if you install the app many times, each time you'll get a different token, okay? But if you don't uninstall the app, only one token for that installation. Anyway, the idea is you have to get the token. Now, once you get the token, you have to save it to the database. But in our case, we are not using database, so we'll just print it and remember, save it somewhere, okay? All right. Now, that's the token part. And after that, we actually listen to the message we get from Firebase. And that happens through this onMessage.listen method, okay? Now inside this, we have a message object, and from the message object, we get title and body, and this is the one I was talking about early. So we send it to this push notification class that we created early, if you remember, which is this one, okay? All right, and then over here, if we fall back to this condition, that means we already have a message and we are able to listen to it, okay? So in that case, we'll increase the notification number, okay? Remember, at the top, we have declared this variable, okay? Total notification, all right? So whatever the notification was there early, we will increase it, okay? And at the same time over here, what we did, we put this notification object to the global variable that we have declared at the top, okay, which is this one, okay? So we save it over here, okay? So later down the road, we would be able to use it or get the notification or the message or the title from this object, because we are saving it here, and at the same time we trigger a build. We are telling the UI that I have new information, build the UI, okay? Now this is show simple notification, this one. So this is the library that we have installed earlier, if you remember, over here in our popspec.yml file, which is this one, okay? Now to be able to use it, just simply pass a text, leading, subtitle, background color, and things like that, okay? Now notification badge, this is another class that we have created, so we have to import it. After that, the error should be gone. Okay. Now over here to this notification badge, at the same time, we are passing the total notification we have received so far. Okay. So if we click on it, we'll be able to see it. Okay. So this is what we have done early. Once again, you can also get the code from the link below. Okay. So everything happens from here. So request and register notification. Okay. But we need to call it from somewhere. Okay. So right below it, over here, we'll declare init state methods. So here is a request and register notification method. So we are calling it from init state. Now at the same time, we are also setting this total notification, which is this one, to 0, because we have to initialize, otherwise we'll get null error. Because here we are saying that it's late, which means we'll initialize it before we are going to use it. Okay, so that's what we are telling our app. Okay, now with this we should be pretty much good to go. Okay, and another thing, so we need to change this build method. Okay, so build method is for now pretty empty, so we'll replace this empty build method using this one. Okay, now over here definitely I have this app bar, so I'll close it. And then I have this body. Inside body, I'm putting things in columns so that we have a good visual. And right after that, we have a text over here. Okay, so just a simple text, which I'll collapse as well. Okay, now over here, this should be another important part. So here we see the notification badge. Okay, so when we get a trigger, so remember at the top, we have this set state inside this request and register method. Okay, so set state gets triggered. So whenever it gets triggered, we want to get a new notification. We want to increase the number of notification. Okay, so that's one part. So each time we open the app and we go to this main.dart class, so this init method would get called, then this would get called as well. And if this get called, so we'll have this set state. Okay, set state would trigger rebuild, and as it does over here, we are passing the new value to this notification badge. Okay, all right, so if it is not null, so over here we'll show the title of the message. Remember earlier we saved the message in this notification info object. Okay, all right. And then at the same time, we are also getting the body. Now, once again, this should be true if notification is not null. Okay, otherwise we'll show an empty container. Okay, all right, but whether we have notification or not, this part is true. Okay, so we'll see basic text and our total notification would be 0. Okay, now right after this, what I'll do, I'll come to this iOS folder, and over here I'll click on this runner, and then I'll double click on this, and I'll open iOS module in Xcode. Okay, so here another important part that most tutorials out there on the internet didn't tell you what to do. Well, but of course we can ignore this one. This doesn't really matter because sometimes iOS doesn't recognize Flutter, but when you build it, it goes away, so don't worry about that one. Now over here at the top, we definitely have to import Firebase and Firebase messaging. Now even if you see their document, in the document they didn't say that you have to import Firebase messaging. Now I have gotten this information after doing a lot of work on notification on iOS. Okay, but most tutorials wouldn't tell you. So this is one part. So without this, it's not going to work. Now over here in your default iOS template, this is what it will get. Okay, so here you will have this Firebase app configuration, and the rest of the part is also default setup. Now what I have done, another step to get notification, over here I have overridden this application method, and here I'm passing a callback function which is called did register for remote notification with the device token. So this tells you that, okay, I have to register for remote notification, and at the same time I have to get the device token. Okay, of course that device token we are also getting it over here. at the top we have seen that. Okay, so now the idea is, if you don't register this callback over here, you won't get the token over here. Okay, so that's my understanding, and that's how it worked with me. A lot of the tutorials out there, they didn't tell you that you have to do like this. Okay, so first you have to call this one, and as you do that, okay, you get the token. Okay, now token you have to register with APNs token. Okay, somehow they get connected. We'll go to APNs token very soon. What is that? And anyway, so over here we're also trying to print it. Okay, and as we did that, we have to finish, we have to call this super.application. So we have to override this application method. Okay, and at the same time we send the device token, which is this one. Okay, and what is APNs? This is Apple Push Notification Server. Okay, so that's what APNs stand for. So now, so far this setting is not enough to get notification. Okay, now here's the trick. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and run our app. Okay, so here it's connected with my real device. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and launch it, and we see what's going on there. Okay, all right, so it's trying to launch in debug mode, and it tried to get my necessary packages. All right, okay, as it is installing and launching, we'll go to Apple's developer account. Okay, and over there I'm going to show something that most tutorials out there they didn't show you, and that could be the reason that why it's not working on iOS device. Okay, and it will take you to either login page, and which I have already done. Okay, once your login is done, then you come to this certificates, identifiers, and profile, and you'll click on this one. Now we'll start from here. Okay, we'll go back and click over here, and then you'd click over here, Apple development, and then we'll click on continue. Okay, all right. So, and after that you have to choose a file to upload. Okay, so and to be able to get this file, what you need to do, you need to come to your key chain access, and then you'd click on this one or double click this one, which will open up actually, and then you will hover over here at the top, and over here you will choose request a certificate from certain authority. Okay, so you'd save it to desk, and then over here you have to write your email, and the name doesn't really matter. You will continue and download it. Okay, so once you download that one, you will have to upload that file over here. Okay, then we'll continue. Once you upload that file, after going to continue, you have to download that file, because once you click over here continue, next page you will see that you have a downloadable file. Click on that file, download it. Okay, and double click that file, and once you do that, that file would appear over here, and that's all. You're done with that one, because I have already done that, so I'm not going to show it. Okay, now after that you have to do another step. Okay, so over here you have to click on this identifier. By the way, if you did that step correctly, it would show up over here. Okay, now anyway, so here you have to click on this identifier and click on this one. Okay, now just like this, you have to select this one and continue, and over here select an app like that. Okay, so you select this and then go to continue like that. Okay, so over here you have to have a description, and then you will have this bundle identifier. Okay, now this bundle identifier is coming from over here. Okay, so whatever you have here, so that is the identifier. Okay, so you go ahead and put it in, and then we have to do this one for sure. You have to select this push notification, because you are going to do push notification, and then you go ahead and do continue, and you are done. All right, okay, and another step, and most probably that's the last step on this browser. So that's called keys. Okay, and this is the APNs key. So you have to create a new key, which I've already done. So you have to click on this one. You can give it a random name, and then you will click over here, okay, and then continue, okay. And then next page you will see it would ask you to download that key. You have to download that key, okay. Now if you download that key, you have to save it somewhere in your computer, it doesn't matter. At the same time, this would also appear over here, and you can click on that one. Over here you will see your key ID, okay. This is important, all right. And because I have already downloaded it, so this is not downloadable anymore. And over here you will see your team ID. So this is the team ID, not the string, just the number over here, and this is the key. So over here we get three things: one downloadable file, your key ID, and your team ID. So these three things are important. So with this, you should be pretty good to go. So we are done over here, okay. So now this, whatever the key you get from here, this is called APNs key, as you can see over here, Apple Push Notification Server, and that's what we've been talking early over here in our app delegate file, okay. Yeah, so that key is quite important. So what do you do with the key? Now you have to use that key, okay. All right, so before we go ahead and use that key, I have to show you another quite important settings. Without that, iOS still wouldn't work, okay. Now here for iOS, you have to click on this runner. Now, well, this is the general settings, it doesn't really matter. Over here we only have our bundle identifier, and that's the most important part, okay. Now you have to click on this signing and capabilities. So now over here you might have your personal team and a business account team. So personal team doesn't work with push notification. Your account has to be a business account, okay, otherwise it won't work. Personal team doesn't work for push notification, I tell you, it's guaranteed, okay. Now if you have a personal business account team, what you'll do, you'll click over here and right here push notification, okay. Now something push notification like that would show up here. In my case it's not showing up because I have already added it, okay. So if your account is personal, when you click on over here, well, something like push, you would write here push notification and it would show up. But if your account is personal account, it won't show up, okay. I can tell you for guarantee. All right, so anyway, so if that shows up, you just select that and it would show up over here automatically. And at the same time, don't forget to click on this too, background fetch and remote notification, okay. Now of course they all should be selected, like for all tabs they should be selected. For debug they should be selected, release and profile, okay. So now we are done with this iOS setup over here in Xcode and our developer account, okay. Now once again, what I'm going to tell you, that your account has to be a business account, otherwise push notification is not going to work, okay. All right, so there is one last step, okay. All right, so we are talking about this keys, APNs keys, right? So we have downloaded that key. Now if you did that, you have to come to your Firebase account over here, which, okay. So I have a lot of projects, so this is the one that I have created. This one actually goes with the one that I have already over here, and I think we all know that. So at the same time, what we have to do as we create the project, we'll have a JSON file, okay. Now we have to put that JSON file over here, which I've already done it. So Google Service info.plist, sorry, that's not a JSON file, that's a plist file. JSON file is for Android and plist file is for iOS. So anyway, when you create a first project for iOS, you'll get this plist file from your project and you have to download that, okay. Anyway, so I'll select this one. So this is the project that we are working on, and over here I have this iOS app, as you can see. So this is the bundle identifier which we have seen earlier, okay. So anyway, right after that you have to click on this project settings, okay. Now it will take you to a page like this, all right. So this is the iOS project that we are working on right now. Okay, and right after this we'll have this cloud messaging. Okay, now here the server key is quite important. Okay, so this is the server key. We'll see how to use that one. So if you come over here, it will generate a server key, and for each project you will have only one server key. And right here you will have an option where it says that upload your APNs key, which I have already done. And remember, earlier over here we have downloaded a file, so you have to upload the file over here. You click on that file, so you click on that upload button, so you have to upload the file, the key ID and the team ID. And earlier I have told you that over here you can see your key ID and team ID. Okay, so this is the key ID, and over here this should be your team ID. All right, so those two are quite important. Okay, so now we are ready. So this is, after everything is done, you should be able to get Firebase notification, okay, for iOS device. And if we come to our app, we already see that we have a token. Okay, all right, so this is the device token. All right, now look at our device. Okay, so now I'll over here I'll have my iOS device, which I'm mirroring on my computer. Okay, so this is not a simulator. This is well, my simulator is not active, but anyway, so this is the simulator, but we are not working with simulator. This is my real device. Okay, now as we launch it, as you see that it says div tag notify, I would like to ask for push notification. So if everything is done, you will see this one, and as well as you will see token. Okay, now this token is quite important. We'll see how to use that one. So now over here I'll allow it. Okay, so yes, so that's what we had early over here. So let me put it right here so that we know what's happening. Okay, so over here this is the text that we had, so for capturing push notification, right? So that's what we had, and our value is 0, right? Okay, great. Now we want to be able to send push notification. Okay, now we'll start this one with from our Firebase. Okay, all right, so we'll come to our Firebase account over here, and over here I will come over here to this messaging. Okay, all right. Okay, now here I'll start a new campaign. Okay, and well, I have done some tests before, so don't worry about that one. Okay, so I'll choose notification, and then my first message, Firebase is awesome. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and click next, and I'll select my app. In this case, this is iOS app. Then I'll select this one. Okay, next, and then say enable batch count, say 4, doesn't matter. Okay, sound enable, we do that. Okay, then we'll click on this one, review, and publish now. And over here, so if we are lucky, we'll see it immediately, but sometimes the notification from Firebase console, it may delay. Okay, all right, so we can wait for that notification, it doesn't really matter. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and open our Postman, and we'll send Postman notification from Postman. Yes, we have got it, as you see. So this is what we have sent. My first message, and Firebase is awesome. My first message, Firebase is awesome, but it was a bit of delay. Okay, okay, so now what I'll do, I'll go ahead and open up my Postman, and we'll send notification from Postman, and we'll see that we get it in our app. Okay, all right, now with Postman, what you have to do, you have to use the token, otherwise Postman doesn't know where to send. All right, so that's why we need this token over here. But the token itself, not just for Postman, in actual real life, you'll send notification from server, and server needs the device ID or token. Okay, warning or exception, but these are not Firebase exception. This is coming from this package, the package that we have uploaded, used, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll skip that, this exception. It doesn't matter, it doesn't help, it doesn't stop us doing the test. Okay, Anyway, so now this is my Postman over here. Now over here I have already tab open. So from Postman there should be a post message. So over here I have this post method, and then this is the link, and over here I have this authorization headers, and in the headers you have to put the server key. Okay, now this is the server key that I was talking early. So if you go over here and you will see that we have a server key. Okay, so that server key you have to put over here. Now we'll come to the body. Now in the body we have to have this JSON format. Okay, simple JSON format. We have to, which means to which device, and here is our basic notification info, title and body. Now this is the token that I was talking about, but in this time our token is this one. So this is our token. Okay, so we'll copy that one and we'll put it here. I think it's same because I have used the same app for testing. Okay, yeah, it is same. So now what I'm trying to send, and let's see. Okay, it's still sending and it's a successful, and as you see we see updated information because here it's 88. All right, that's what we see. Now we'll minimize our app. So this is the app that we are working. Okay, as you can see, DV tag notify. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll send a new message from here. Okay, all right, and okay, I'll click on this, and as the notification arrives, I'll click on that. Okay, it arrived and it will open our app. Okay, so now this is our app. All right, but now we do see that we have a bit of problem. Okay, now this didn't get updated immediately. Now that's happening because our code is not complete in a sense over here. So this init state, because init state got called, but certain as it got called we didn't listen to the message. Okay, even though we saw the notification, but we need to listen to the message, which we didn't. Okay, so to be able to do that we need to put this extra line of code over here. Actually this is the same code, the one we had early in this method itself. Okay, so in the init state itself we are listening again if we have a new message. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go ahead and recompile everything. Okay, and here my token, and as you see my app restarted, every information is gone. I'll minimize my app and I'll come to this Firebase over here, and sorry, the Postman, and I'll send a new notification, and then I'll click on this one, and as I get it I'm going to click on this. It open up my app and we see that updated information immediately. Okay, so you click on it and you see it immediately. Anyway, so it's been a little long about this notification. Most of the tutorials out there short, but what I have tried to address the few issues that I encountered, and I believe most iOS developers they also encounter. But a lot of the tutorials out there are outdated. They don't tell you how to do it step by step. Okay, all right, so anyway, so in future we'll see how to send notification from server, not really from Postman, because we'll say send it from server and we'll receive in our real device. Okay, and that should be the most exciting part. Okay, thank you.